Hey, what's up, guys? All right, so you probably didn't watch yesterday's video. Most people, I think, didn't. This is because it was for paying subscribers only, but we've got another one of these here for you today, a little bit more Baseball Stars action. You didn't miss much yesterday. We ended up losing by 10-0 score. This was after we created a new player. So I'll show you what happened here. So here... Yeah, this is our team. I'm sorry, I'm thinking too quickly. That's because I haven't changed anybody's names yet. We're gonna keep this guy. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna change this name. Yeah, there you go. So we're gonna keep that guy for now. Whoops, what am I doing? I'm going all over the place here. So this is the player that we bought. We spent a little bit of money, went over and got Lucy, who has pretty good defense. She's got that max of 82, which is the real key. So again, to remind you a little bit, we have some pretty good players here in the lineup in terms of like the max potential. The third baseman, probably a player we're going to keep. First baseman, definitely a player we're going to keep. We'll do probably a different name every day. This player also maybe a player that we're going to end up keeping. Lucy came in. She doesn't have a whole lot of ability, but we're going to go for her right now. Also, when I'm looking at this, what I'm looking for right now are players who have really low max potential. That's all right. 55 is not so great. The 60s and stuff. The thing is, I don't want to like go through and like get rid of everybody right away. What I'm looking for is like, is there a player who, you know, doesn't really have it going on that we might want to consider like getting rid of. Like at this point right now, we don't want to get rid of the center fielder because we need somebody who can give us like some offensive power. But a player like this bad C1, maybe we can consider it. I'm gonna, you know, like see though what we're doing and where we're at first in this game before I make a decision on that. Yeah, see, bad C1 is not actually in the lineup. That's kind of what I was looking for. So we're gonna go ahead and play this first, and then we'll see what it is that we end up doing tomorrow when we play this game again. The reason why is because I'm really reluctant to make any sort of major change at this point, and for fear of like disturbing the balance or something like that. Those of you who've been saying this are correct. You don't really want to make a whole bunch of changes to your team until you know who it is that you're going to actually keep on them. You don't want to spend a lot of your money upgrading players that you're not going to keep around for the long term. It's really not worth it. So anyway, here we go. Let's see if we can have a little bit more luck against them than we did last time. That's a strike, huh? Okay. So the last game ended up not really going so well for us. I tried the same strategy as before, though I was probably not as patient as I really could have been at the plate. I think that's probably my biggest weakness when it comes to this game. And then the other problem, of course, is that we didn't have our #1 pitcher on the mound, and that's a real issue when it comes to like, you know, making sure that you have a chance of getting something going. Our bullpen here is not exactly good, and so because of that, we really need to, you know, try to get good starting pitching outings. Probably the focus on trying to improve pitching will be trying to go for stamina. It'll be stamina and prestige, I think, at the beginning. Once we've really established that we can beat this team, I could have sworn that was going to be inside. Once we've established that we can really beat this team, like on a consistent basis, that's when we're going to be able to, you know, really like probably will want to, you know, improve our prestige and stuff like that, and then sort of see from there. So the newest player, Lucy, has pretty good defensive ratings. I have her as the catcher, actually. She's got better defensive ratings than whoever we had at catcher, so we'll see if it helps or not, but that's not going to be her long-term position. Just so you know, in this game, it doesn't really matter. Oh, thanks. You're going to have me change the guy that I control right in the middle of that? That's the first time I think I've ever seen that happen. So I was controlling the left fielder, and then it had me control the center fielder for some reason when I was, I guess I wasn't that close to the ball, but I was kind of close to it. You don't have to have the drop ball drop, by the way, if you want that to work. Alright, so last time we played against this pitcher, we got a whole bunch of runs in the first inning. This time, we're having a little bit of struggles, so we'll see what happens. Maybe we don't have the right guys in the lineup or something like that, I don't know. Or maybe I should not have swung at that pitch. He really jammed me on the inside. Yeah, there's nothing quite like a good game of Baseball Stars. This is, as others have said, this is going to be a really, really long-term project, so it's going to take a while. I'm trying to be as, I swear that's going to be called a strike, even though it's darting inside on me, and of course that's right down the middle. But this is going to be a long project pretty much no matter what, so it's going to take a little while for us to really get to the place that we want to be at. And you know, like I said before, when you think about this game, you think about, how did I miss that? When you think about this game and you think about like what your strategy is and stuff, you know, you figure that, you know, you're kind of, maybe I do need to spend some money improving the batting. When you think about like the strategy and stuff in this game, you realize that you are kind of torn between like if you want to improve your team's prestige or if you want to actually improve your abilities on the field. Because your abilities on the field, believe it or not, really do kind of make a difference, and you want to make sure that you're able to like actually win the games that you're playing. Now, since we've got, what, like 25 games against this team, we're not necessarily that worried about improving the abilities on the field first. We probably should worry a little bit more about prestige first so we can get more money. But at the same time, we do want to do a little bit better, you know, so that we can start playing against teams that are a little bit harder and we can start turning into this like an actual real game. Of course, the other nice thing about having like the 25-game season against just like the worst team in the league is that this sort of setup allows us to, you know, play a whole bunch of games. We can lose a whole bunch. It doesn't really matter. It's almost like, you know, the season mode is an extension of the versus mode. I always hope that those will drop, but they never drop. Alright, so here's Lucy hitting a mighty 666 in her one game. Which is pretty good considering that she has like no ratings. She's also really, really slow, so we gotta work on that. I swear, I don't know if it's my timing that's wrong or exactly what's happening, but I feel like I've been swinging through a lot of pitches here and like swinging right through it, so whatever, maybe I'm just having a little bit of bad luck. Or maybe there's some sort of hidden setting in the game that nerfs your players at certain times or something like that. I don't know. There's all sorts of things that are possible. And it might just be that their pitcher here is better than I think. Is that the first base hit we've had today? I thought we had one already. No, that was our first hit. Okay, how about that? So we broke up the no-hitter. Somebody was saying that there is also a bonus that pinch hitters get in this game. I know that that's a thing in RBI Baseball. I don't know enough about the makeup of this game to know for sure if that's a thing here or not. Dude, why don't you let me control my pitcher on that? That's ridiculous. That was ridiculous, right? It's hit right to the pitcher, it's bunted right back to him, and instead he runs to first base, and I've got to control the first baseman? It might be that we need to get the luck settings up or something, I don't know. Alright, well we pitched out of it, so that's alright. Alright, well let's see if we can get a couple hits, string a couple things together and get something going. And if failing that, let's see if we can at least get them to start going to their bullpen. Their bullpen has got to be tired, because they keep using a whole bunch of pitchers in all these games. Yeah, that's a little bit more like it. And it looks like he's slowing down a little bit. I don't know what it is with these Japanese games. You would think that pitchers in Japan back in the late 80s like never threw complete games because you always have to go to the bullpen early. But the truth is actually the Japanese pitchers threw complete games like it was going out of style. I mean, especially, you know, 89, 1990, like around that point in time. The Tokyo Giants were famous. They had a team in 1990 that had tons and tons of complete games. It had an excellent pitching staff. But apparently nobody told the people who make Nintendo games. I think I got it. Yep, I got it. That was a mistake on their part. Usually they're able to get to that. Alright, so how about that? Another triple. That probably would have been a ball, I think. There we go. Figured that one out. That's like one of those old-fashioned traps, right? How are you going to get out of this maze? You're going up, down, left, right, up, down. You can try to get him to do the Contra code. Yeah, so that's got to be the way to have success in this game. I think that the real key is to try to like push and push and force the computer into oh, come on, that was off the plate. Force the computer into throwing a whole ton of pitches. The problem with Lucy is that she can't really hit that well. I think that would have been a ball. I don't know, I'm having a hard time like trusting my strike zone instincts here because I keep getting it wrong. Oh, thank you for throwing home instead. What a ditzy move. So the computer doesn't know what to do if you're in a rundown. Well, there were 2 men out anyway, it doesn't matter. Alright, we gotta watch this guy and see, you know, make sure that he doesn't get really tired really fast. There we go. See, that's the difference in this game. Earlier on, some of the earlier games I was playing with not great defense at third base, that would have been a base hit. Instead, we turn into an out. Oh, so that's the reason why. That's the reason why they left their pitcher in, because they were... No, I'm sorry, this is number 6 hitter. So once again, the computer in this game is making really bizarre decisions. Whatever, we'll take it. They're gonna leave that pitcher and I'm really happy. Oh no, they're taking him out. I should have the option to like engage and like, you know, like to yell at the other team or something like that. Scream at them for making a mistake. Kind of like in Football Manager where you can do shouts. It'd be nice if I could shout at like the umpire, shout at the other team, shout at the other manager. Oh, beat it out, beat it out. Come on, baby. Go, 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 go. Yes! Alright, whatever. I know people have said what you really want to do is make sure that you're hitting and running every time up, but it's not going to work with this team because we don't have any speed, not at the moment. We've got to work a little bit harder to get our speed sort of trained up and then we can do that. That's a triple play. Double play because there were only... There was 1 out. Oh shoot. That's my fault. That's been happening a couple times here with this controller. And yeah, I know that if you don't push a direction that you'll throw to first base automatically. That was pretty bad. So if I had one complaint about this game, it would be like on plays like that where you have absolutely no idea where your fielder is, right? It would be nice if I knew where my right fielder was so I could get in position to make the catch instead of like kind of guessing and hoping that something good's gonna happen. I mean, you know, you would think that like this sort of thing would be... Jeez. You would think that like this sort of thing would, you know, be like a natural part of the game, something that they would want to do. I don't know. I know that I've said that about other baseball games as well, but really the fielding screen is important, especially for games that don't have automatic fielding, because you're going to spend a lot of time fielding the ball. And so you've got to make sure that you make it so that the player can actually see where the fielders are. This is also one of the reasons, by the way, is a lot of you know when I talk about Ken Griffey Jr. Presents Major League Baseball on the Super Nintendo that I have a little bit of complaint. It's that you can use, you know, the auto fielding system. I usually will use it. The manual fielding system in that game, that was a ball. Come on. Manual fielding system in that game suffers a lot because you can't see where your player is. I think there's a radar system on that game and stuff. It was pretty common in games from around that time. But, you know, it would be much nicer if you could actually see your player and if you would zoom the camera out a little bit so that you can see what's going on. When it's zoomed way in so that they can show the sprites, which aren't really that attractive anyway, you have the problem where you have no idea where your guy is and what you're supposed to be doing. Alright, so far so good. Nope, no luck on that one. I was hoping that would fall, but no such luck. The other thing that would be nice is if I could control my pitcher when the ball is hit straight to the pitcher like that, instead of, you know, having the pitcher just sort of stand there and have no idea what to do. Our first base fielding is a problem. I'm trying to throw to third and it's not letting me. I may need to consider getting a different controller than this because this one I think is starting to really show signs of use. Fortunately, they didn't try to score, so alright. Take that. That might have not been the right pitch. Alright, so far so good. Well, this is, no matter what, it's probably going to end up being pretty close. Or maybe they're just going to go walk everybody. That happens sometimes in this game too. And when that happens, then you're happy. Anyway, I don't know if the best strategy in this game is to like not swing at anything until you have 2 strikes or exactly what to do. In Ken Griffey Jr. Presents Major League Baseball, that is literally the strategy that works the best. It makes the game like a lot slower and a lot more frustrating, honestly, but if you do that, when you're hitting, you're going to have a lot more success, especially against the computer, because the pitcher will tire like crazy. And the other reason why it works in that game is because the ball comes so fast that you can't realistically react to it. I suspect that Baseball Stars, like the winning strategy, is probably at least somewhat similar. That you really want to have you want to try to get the computer to rack up as many pitches as humanly possible, so that you know, you can get a lot of sort of like meatballs to hit and stuff like that. Yeah, there was no way. That was hit right in that spot where this is gonna be a game-tying home run, isn't it? Yep, that's what our luck is like today. I want to see if this guy can get one more out. And see, that was a pitch that was in on the hands. That wasn't a pitch. There's another one. Yeah, so much for that. That's the thing. You have to realize when you're playing these games that the strategies that work for one game don't necessarily work for another one. And my experience with this game is that pitching in on the hands doesn't really work that well. It's a problematic thing. The thing that works the best is taking your pitchers out and using 4 or 5 pitchers every freaking game. Either that or trying to score 10 runs as quickly as possible so that you can win by the 10-run forfeit rule, and then you know, not have to use your bullpen so much. All right, well now we're up against it again. I swung at ball 2, but at least we were able to do something with it. Yeah, more frustration in this game. Those, yeah, here we go. If you have better batting attributes, those hits go a long way. But when you're at this stage, it doesn't go very far. And so you have to rely on stuff like this. This is a total RBI Baseball base hit. I feel like on RBI Baseball, I've hit home runs that way. You can do it with pitchers if you bunt it just right. Yeah, that was pretty bad. All right. Well, so much for that. There was a chance, but it didn't work. So, in addition to the fielding issue, my other complaint about this game is that the game really does punish you, like in a hurry, if it wants to score runs off of you, and that's what happens sometimes with these home runs. Hopefully, as we go along and as we finally like win more games than one, we'll be able to get the team improved to the point where that doesn't happen so often. But it's going to be a long road trying to get there. Like I said at the beginning of all this, you know, trying to do this like the legitimate way and not cheating means a lot of frustration. It means a lot of games played. There's a reason why the majority of people who play this game just opt for, you know, doing the cheat codes. But it's not as much fun to watch. And also, for people who are saying, "Oh, don't swing at the drop balls," about 50% of the time, those end up being going straight, not falling, which is very similar to RBI Baseball and all the other NES baseball games. So you kind of, you know, take a chance. All right, we're in trouble. We don't have anybody who can hit for power. Yeah, that's it. So there you go. We end up losing this game that we probably should have won, 4-3. So a little bit more frustration here for us. At least we didn't lose by 10 runs this time. But 2 home runs is what kind of did us in. It's kind of a shame because if we had been able to win this game, we probably would have had a little bit more money. We still do have money. We can go over and check things out and try to hire a player and stuff. I'm probably going to do that tomorrow when we play this game again, instead of worrying about trying to make all that happen here today, because I don't want this video to be too long, and I'd rather do that sort of thing at the beginning. So anyway, there you go. Another day, another loss. That was a pretty frustrating loss, and I think we're going to have to get used to this, especially in the early going. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of games that are like this one. So there you have it. I'll talk with you again tomorrow and hope we have a little bit more luck. Bye.